ally at the UPMC Center for Engagement and Inclusion. I'm going to start with the quote, "We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." So what does that quote do for you? What does it say to you? Does it overwhelm you? Does it bore you? Does it motivate you? Before I started my journey with Public Allies, that quote probably had no effect on me whatsoever. I remember it was more overwhelming than anything. I felt like I was more of like the small fish in the big pond. I would never be big enough to make any waves in my community, to make any positive, big changes. So my eyes were first opened one day at work. I used to work at a bank in my hometown. On this particular day, a young woman walked in, and she was carrying a car seat with an infant in it, and she had a toddler attached to her hip. She sat down, and I overheard the conversation. She sat down with one of our customer service representatives, and she started telling her story. And I could feel from across the room that she was holding back tears as she said it. She said, "My scumbag boyfriend took my debit card. My account is now overdrawn, and I'm accruing charges each day for every day that it's overdrawn." Her paycheck wasn't for another week, and she had no idea how she was going to pay all of this back and feed her kids at the same time. That's the day I realized I was in the wrong line of work. That's the day that the leader inside me started to raise its head and pay attention to its surroundings. The funny thing is that woman will never know how much she changed my life. Shortly after this, I was cruising the internet one day, knowing that I wanted to get out of the banking industry. I can't stand finance to begin with. And I came across the Public Allies site, and I was like, oh yes, this is it. This is exciting. I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to change the world. So we all know Selection Day is the scariest experience in my life. Matching Fair wasn't so bad. I started at Propel Schools, started working with children. I felt great. I was retaining information. I was like a sponge. So trainings, I had it all in here. But after a while, I realized I had it all in here, but I still wasn't saving the world. I didn't know what to do with all this information that I had in me now. That all came whenever we started our team service project. I was on Team Hill District. Love the Hill District, yes, I see it. And we were at a meeting one day. The residents and local stakeholders had come together about the Lower Hill redevelopment, and they were kind of in negotiation against the Pittsburgh Penguins. If you don't know about it, definitely look it up. It's still going on to this day. And I remember sitting there, and the residents kept coming up with all this passion, all this pushback, and they were taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, the big fish in the pond. And I remember I had goosebumps the whole time. As I was leaving, that's when I realized that I'm in the right line of work. I'm doing it. And with this, I'm going to save the world. And for about 2 months after, everybody that I came across, I had to tell them about how it felt that day, about how this small neighborhood, this small underserved neighborhood that people forgot about a long time ago had taken on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So as I was out here talking to everybody, I was talking a lot, but I wasn't walking about what I talked. I was working in the communities, but I still wasn't putting forth, I still wasn't making the effect that I wasn't saving the world. So, for those of you who don't know what that means, get on Facebook one day after a tragedy hits. I think everybody should know what I'm talking about, all the people who just love to sit there and talk. They love to state their opinions. There's 40 comments on their thread. They do it all for the likes. Ask them what they're doing in their communities. Ask them what change they're making in their own communities. And I guarantee you'll see crickets, literally, asterisk, crickets, asterisk. So, I began working on myself. I found out what I value, change, education, and loyalty. I found out what my strengths were. I never thought about what my strengths were. I'd always focused on my weaknesses. Then I realized I could turn that around and focus on what I was doing good, and eventually I could affect what I was doing good on what I was doing bad. And as I'm ending this journey with Public Allies, this journey of self-development, of unleashing this leader inside me on the road full of twists, turns, potholes, unexpected detours, everything you could ever imagine. And I found something that I never even knew I lost. And I lost it a long time ago. I lost myself. I thought I knew myself until they throw you out of your comfort zone, then you realize how much you really know yourself. And I prevailed with this influence in my words, and I prevailed with power in my actions. I prevailed with passion for communities and a genuine appreciation for those around me. And I prevailed with the new knowledge about what makes me work, what my goals are. I never set goals before. I just kind of was an autopilot for, I feel like, for the first 20 years of my life. I found out what I'm good at, and I haven't saved the world yet, but I saved my world. And so today, I challenge you to find your values, find out what your strengths are, and forget about your weaknesses. Step out of your comfort zone and have those uncomfortable conversations with your peers. Share your story, your trials, your tribulations, your obstacles, and your experiences. Let that leader that's inside of you out. Let him or her or they see the world. Use your voice, take action, leave a footprint in your community, and all that starts with is one step. These are your gifts to the world, and these are how people will remember you. So I'll leave you with this. Change will not wait for some other person or some other time. You are the one that you've been waiting for. You are the change that you seek. Thank you.